So where were you in 2011, Mike Robinson?
Oh, I was coaching at St. Francis de Sales back in the day, but I think I know where you might be going with this.
That's right, 2011, the last time Toledo played Miami, and it's interesting that the Redhawks are the only team in the MAC that UT's got a losing record against.
Yeah, the Redhawks, they've been playing really good. As we know, they're the cradle of coaches. They got 28-22 versus over the Rockets and one tie in there as well back in '95. But what a great matchup this is, and it's a great place for the Rockets to play because they've had some struggles over here over the years.
They haven't played a whole lot. You just heard from Coach Candle. He's played Ohio State more than he's played Miami of Ohio. This is a matchup that it's a long time coming, and to this point in the season, it's living up to the hype.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the biggest games that you're going to find in college football this week, especially if you're a fan of football, because these two teams, obviously, they're bowl eligible now. They got one common opponent so far in the season. But the one thing that you like about both of these teams is that they play extremely well on the defensive side of the football, and that's what you want to see. Can DeQuan Finn and this offense get going, and can we see Judge Culpepper and those guys really slow down this offense?
Last couple of weeks, it's been a little bit of a slug for the Rockets, certainly against Northern Illinois, certainly last week against Ball State. Is that playing conference foes? Is that a bigger issue with this team right now?
Well, you know what? I feel like a few times the Rockets have decided to play at the level of their opponents. And when you do that, you give the other team life. But at the same time, is it the Rockets playing down or the other teams playing up? Because everybody's going to give the MAC West champs, the MAC champs, their best shot. And I think that's what we're seeing here.
What do you like about this Redhawks team?
What I like is offensively, they find a way to get it done. Offensively, their quarterback, he gets it done. Obviously, we miss Mr. Gabbard over there. We know who his brother is, Blaine. But the big important thing is they're efficient, they convert on third downs, and they really rarely turn the football over.
Toledo, Quinyon Mitchell coming off a solid game against Ball State. Penny Boone, the MAC player of the week. And it's a little bit of an up and down game for Penny at Ball State. But when they needed him at the end, he came through. I
mean, he's the workhorse. And like you said, early in the game, it was tough sledding for this football team. But as it got going, Penny Boone came to form. He had to keep the streak alive. That's 5 games in a row with 100-plus rushing yards. So he's doing an excellent job, and he's well-deserving of that MAC West Player of the Week.
And if you go back to the offseason, part of the discussion was, is it going to be a running back by committee with this Rocket team? Jacquez Stewart hasn't been fully healthy, but more so than that, Penny Boone has taken that job and made it his own.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at Jacquez Stewart and how well he's played, he had the thumb injury earlier in the season, but as he bounced back, he had more of an impact on special teams, having huge kickoff returns, and that is everything for this Rocket team because if you got good field position, you give DeQuan Finn a short field, they can get it done. We saw Willie Shaw get a lot of snaps last week, getting his running game going, but, Jacquez, he's averaging 5.6 yards per carry, and then also Penny Boone's averaging about 7 yards per carry. And then you got DeQuan adding another 7 yards per carry. So on the ground, this football team is one of the best in the country.
Going back to the defensive side of the ball, we've talked about Quinyon Mitchell, but that secondary really is performing very well as a whole. It's more than just the All-American back there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look at Quinyon, and you know that he's locked down on one side. And you got Delancey, who's been playing his tail off, special teams-wise, and when he gets his shot there on the defensive side. McDonald, he's an all-conference kind of player as well. And then you look at the secondary, Zach Ford, Hook. These guys play extremely well together. And the one thing that you got to love about it is none of them really care who makes the play because they all work together in communication. You got to love what Vince Karras has done with this defense. He's found a role for all of his key players in the back half of that defense. And for the linebacker unit, these guys are studs.
Rockets continue to find a way to win, but perhaps the victory in Ball State a little costly, particularly on the offensive line.
Yeah, you got injuries, and we saw that happen last year with the Rockets, but now they're still the #1 team in the country in pass pro, giving up only 1% of sacks on their pass plays. So that's really, really good, Mark. And that's credit to DeQuan, but more importantly, this offensive line finding a way to gel. Rossi, one of the best players in this country. And you're looking at Scurry, Long. These guys are extremely well. They're versatile, and now they got to just add some of these young guys in there who've been waiting their turn, and they've bought their time. So having those good players with Google and all those guys in front of them, now these younger guys, they have to step up because in college football, it ain't who's out there. It's the next man up.
Miami, the cradle of coaches, they do a great job at Yager Stadium of recognizing all those great coaches with the statues, including John Harbaugh, the Toledo native, like his brother Jim, spent some time here as his dad was coaching at both Perrysburg High School and Bowling Green. So if you go down to Oxford, check out those statues before the game as the Rockets and Redhawks square off on Saturday. Mike Rob, thank you for coming in.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mark.